Hi loves, my name is Praise and you're welcome to your Villa Fashion Hub. On this channel, I post sewing tutorials, sewing tips and DIYs. So if that's something you're interested in, keep watching. In this video, I will be making this very beautiful dress. It is a corporate dress, a straight cut dress with double sleeve. So if you want to learn how to make this dress, on this video we'll be drafting it. So keep watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you have not, and let's get right into the video. These are the materials we'll be needing for this tutorial. First, I have 2 yards of this crepe fabric that I will be using. I have 1 yard of the lace fabric for the sleeve and pieces of a Duchess fabric that I will be using for the lapel in front of the dress. My ruler, my tape and my zip. Let's get right into this tutorial. To start drafting, I'm going to be drafting the skirt piece first. And to draft the skirt piece, I went ahead to identify where the fabric is stretchy towards, and I went ahead to fold it in that direction. I folded it into 4 pieces. I made sure I left about 1.5 inches that is going to be serving as my zipper allowance. Now I'm going to start placing my fabric, and I'll be starting from that starting line that I drew earlier at that point. My half length is 16, but I'll be placing it at point 15, so that 1 inch is going to serve as the joining allowance. Then I'll be marking out my full length. Now I'm going to place my hip point at 24 and I will place my knee point at 38. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw a line across those points. After drawing the line, I'm going to go ahead and place my horizontal measurement. I'm going to be placing my measurements after the fold. So I'm going to go ahead and place my waist measurement divided by 4, my hip measurement divided by 4, my hip measurement divided by 4 minus 1 on the knee point and on the full length. So I'm not adding any allowance to this drafting because the fabric I'm working with is very stretchy. So I'm going to go ahead and join those points from the waist to the hip to the knee point and to the full length. The next thing I'll be doing is to adjust the zipper, and to adjust the zipper I just went in by 3/4 of an inch and I made a slant line from that point towards the hip point like so, and that is the adjustment. I'm adjusting that zipper area so that it doesn't have bulge at the back. So after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and cut out my fabric. After cutting it out, this is my skirt piece. I'm going to be keeping that aside, and next thing I'll be doing is to draft my front bodice. I went ahead to mark out my half length and I drew a line across that point. And after that, I'll be placing every other measurement. I went ahead to place my chest line at 8, my bust point at 10, my under bust at 13, and the half length is going to serve as my waistline. I'm going to draw a line across those points and I will be labeling them. So after leveling them, this is what I have. I'm going to place my shoulder measurement divided by 2 on my chest line and on my shoulder line, and I'll be joining it like so with a straight line. Next, I'll be marking out my neck at point 3. And on that armhole line, I'll be coming down by 1 inch to get my shoulder slope. Now I'm going to measure the rest of this armhole line and I'll be dividing it by 2, and on that midpoint going in by half an inch. Now I'm going to join from the shoulder slope to the midpoint and to the chest line, and that's going to serve as my armhole curve. I will be drafting my back pattern first and I will be adjusting the pattern later for my front pieces. Okay, so just follow what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead to mark out my dart, and I went ahead to place my nipple to nipple measurement on the bust point, on the under bust and on the waistline. And on that waistline, I'll be going out on both sides by half an inch, and I'll be using a slant line to connect it back to the bust point. Now I'm going to place my other horizontal measurement. On the bust line, I placed my bust round divided by 4, and on the waist point, I placed my waist round divided by 4, replaced the dart, and now I'll be joining those points together and extending the line to the armhole. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark out my neck. To do that, I came down on that shoulder line by 1 inch, and I'll be making a curve to connect it to the shoulder like so. Okay, and now my back pattern is ready. Now after cutting it out, this is what I have for the back pattern. Okay, to cut it out on my fabric, I went ahead to identify the side of the fabric that is stretchy. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut out my back pieces on the fabric. So I just folded my fabric into two, so I'll be able to cut out two pieces at once. Okay, and I'm going to be cutting open that on the pattern because I don't want the dart to appear on the fabric, so I'm going to be taking out my dart on my pattern paper. Now I will be placing the pattern paper on the fabric. Notice that I left space in front of the pattern paper. Now I will be placing the pattern paper on my fabric, and after doing that I went ahead to mark out 1 inch from that point like so, that will be serving as my zipper allowance. And now on the waist point I went in by 3/4 of an inch and I made a slant line for the zipper adjustment so that it does not have any bulge at the back. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out this pattern. I'm cutting without adding any allowance because the fabric is stretchy. If the fabric you are working with is not very stretchy, you should consider adding 1 or 1.5 inch stitching allowance. But for this particular one, I'm cutting without any allowance. Now we are going to go ahead and draft the front piece. And to draft the front piece, I opened up my pattern paper like so. And the first thing we'll be doing is to adjust the neckline. So from the shoulder, I'll be coming down by 5 inches and I'll be making a mark there. And I'll be drawing a straight line from the shoulder to that point. Now I'm going to make a curve from that point to the other side of the neckline like so. So this is the neckline. I went ahead to indicate that I'll be adding allowance while cutting on my fabric at that point. Okay, now I'll be cutting out this neckline. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out on my fabric like so. I'll be cutting it on a fold because it's easier for me. Okay, so I went ahead to pin that down on my fabric, and after pinning it down I went ahead to cut it out like so. Now I'm going to open up the fabric and place the pattern paper over the fabric like so. And I'm going to go ahead and adjust the neckline on the fabric as well. So after cutting it out of my main fabric, I'm going to place that aside. The next thing I'm going to be cutting is the lapel in front, and to cut it out, I went down on the neckline by 2 inches and measured that 2 inches around the neckline. So watch what I'm doing. From this point, I came down by 2 inches and I measured it all the way around. I'll be extending the line here and I'll be using a cuff to join the points like so. And I'll be cutting that out, and this is going to be the lapel that I'll be using. Okay, I'll be cutting it in a fold. So I folded my fabric into two and I went ahead to pin my pattern paper on the fabric. And after pinning it down, I'm going to be cutting it out. The next thing we'll be cutting out is the sleeve, and to cut out the sleeve I went ahead to mark out the bicep point at 0.5, the elbow point and the full length, drawing a line across those points and leveling them. On the bicep point, I placed my bicep round divided by 2. Now I'll be drawing a slant line from that point to the edge of the armhole like so. I'm going to be measuring that slant line and I'll be dividing it by 3. And what I got for my slant line is 8, and 8 divided by 3. So after dividing it by 3, I will be placing the first 2 points and I'll be marking it there, and then on that point I'll be going up by half inch. I'll be making a curve from the tip of the armhole to the biceps line like so. Now I'm also going to be placing my elbow measurement divided by 2 on the elbow line. And for the full length, I'm going to be measuring my wrist. I'm not measuring exactly on my wrist as you can see. I measured around my fingers so that my hand can be able to pass through it. So I measured around there, divided it by 2 and I placed it on the full length, okay? And I'm going to be joining those lines. Then I'll be adding my allowance to my sleeve, and I added about half inch stitching allowance, and that is for the first sleeve. Now to draft the second sleeve, I went up by 1 inch, came out by 1 inch, and I made a curve towards the 1 inch point like so. And I'll be going out on the full length by 2 inches and I'll be matching it up to that elbow. And this is what I have for my second sleeve. So to cut out the first sleeve, I'm just going to go ahead and fold in that part. So this is what it looks like after cutting out the second sleeve. Now I'm going to fold it in and cut out my first sleeve, which is going to be a lace fabric. This is all for this video. I'll be uploading the sewing tutorial as soon as possible. If you're yet to subscribe to the
After
channel,
cutting it
please do well
out,
to
this is what
subscribe
I
to this
have.
channel. For this
Like,
tutorial,
share,
we'll be
and
able
leave
to
a
cut
comment
out
in the
two
comment
pieces of the
section,
back
and I will see you
pattern,
in the
the
next
skirt
video.
pattern, the
Bye.
lapel for the front piece, the facing for the front piece, and the front piece. Okay. We also went ahead to cut out two of the sleeves, that's the inner sleeve and the outer sleeve. And that is all for this video. I'll be uploading the sewing tutorial as soon as possible. If you're yet to subscribe to the channel, please do well to subscribe to the channel. Like, share, and leave a comment in the comment section. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.